Welcome and welcome back, everyone, to the Beyond Infinite podcast. For those who do not know, my name is Guest, also known as ItsGuestGaming. And as always, it is the one, the only, the lovely, the Daniel, the D-Money. D-Money, good sir, is with us once again. Hey, how are you today, good sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. All right. No Twitter drama at all this week.
No.
It's a nice, hey, just another great day in the Marvel Snap universe. We have some exciting topics as always for you guys. We always try to bring you the spiciest stuff on the planet, in the galaxy. And this episode is like no other. Episode number 13. We've been doing this for quite a few weeks at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Hope you guys are enjoying the content.
They're trying to.
Always,
They're trying to enjoy it, you know. No promises that they actually do, you know, based on the comments. But, you know, if you like us, let us know, you know, comment down below or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google, all the above, wherever you're listening or watching said podcast. And if you're here in the live chat on D-Money Stream, go ahead and just say hi, leave us an emote, see how we're doing. Now, you said the word spicy, and it brought up my favorite flamed friend right now, who's all over the Marvel Snap news. I think he's worth hopping into right away, because we got today's OTA. We got today's OTA, and as projected, they finally hit Red Hulk right where he needed to be hit, in my opinion, and that's his actual starting power. They dropped him down 2 points. He is now a 6'9" giggity. And do you think this was the adjustment you would have given? Or are you happy with it? What do you feel about this first adjustment on today's OTA of Red Hulk going from 6'11" to 6'9"?
Well, first of all, yes, 6'9" stats is nice. All right. But I think this is a good step one of Red Hulk's changes that we see. I don't think it really addresses the main problem, which is the +4. I don't know. The +4 for me is just so much. 6'9" is actually kind of interesting because if he doesn't get buffed for the whole game, and then you play him on the last turn, he can't get Shang-Chi'd, and then he would get the plus after the turn, which is
out of my head. Damn it! You took my point.
Which is something a little interesting, but
yeah.
I do think the card is still going to be very strong, and I could totally see it coming down to a +3 in the future. I think it would still be fine. I don't know. I think it'll remain to be the most powerful 6-drop in the game as far as raw power goes.
Yeah, I think you look at the 2 power difference on something like Apocalypse, right? Where they brought down Apocalypse with the same mindset that, hey, this scales at +4s repeatedly, so let's knock it down so it starts even lower. And I think that that's much different in comparison to Red Hulk, because Red Hulk is just stupid ridiculous when it comes to this amount of power being able to scale up. And one skipped turn, it is now a Shang-Chi-able card. But if your opponent could just have a straight up, you know, it's like Chavez, right? You could just put down a straight America Chavez in the past, old 6'9" version of Chavez, and have no issues, no concerns. It's still a good, solid card. I think that should be the comparison point, because she was a 6'9" specifically, so she could also accidentally get sniped and be Shang-Chi'd. I think that the fact that Red Hulk is 6'9" in a world where Shang-Chi is a 4'3" that hits 10s is a big difference. That's the biggest thing that I take out of this change, because the +4s, I agree. I think those needed to be adjusted more. I would have preferred a 6'11" that got to +3s rather than 6'9" that's getting +4s. I think maybe a month from now, because Second Dinner likes to, you know, if they do secondary nerfs or adjustments on a card multiple times, typically they like to collect around 4 to 5 weeks of data first. I expect that with Red Hulk as well. I would not be surprised if this was not enough. I think that this should have been addressed a little heavier, but luckily he's got several knobs that can be adjusted. And I think that moving him eventually in the future to a 6'10" that gets +3s gives the same benefit after one turn, but takes the ceiling down a bit after more than 2 skips, which is what I think is the biggest issue with Red Hulk, is when you get to 2 skips or more, it's not that first initial, you know, piece of power, because he's still a 6'13" with 1 skip. That's still better for the 1 power of flexibility than playing Giganto, where yeah, you can get 614, but you can only play it in the left with no conditions. I think that this is like, it's good, it's a help. It's like, all right, second dinner, we're on the right track. Just maybe not enough.
Yeah, I can totally see exactly what you said. The 610 with like the +3 in the future. I also think the Red Hulk is just kind of an interesting card in itself because it does punish your opponent for not using all their energy. So it kind of counters some strategies, like especially the Sunspot. It's it does have its downside of your opponent actually getting to see that it's in your hand and that it's getting buffed and whatever. So I do think it's overall an interesting card, and I would like to see it in a good place where it is not broken. And I think it does become broken, like you're saying, when you get it early on and it gets multiple ticks, then it becomes way too good, and nothing really could. I mean, you could still beat it. The thing is, it's still beatable.
Yeah.
Which I do like as well. But it's just it's just so big. That's all I can say. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just ginormous.
That's is a big, beefy card. And the fact that it's a big, beefy card that you know about, you know it's coming, you know you're going to get slammed by Red Hulk, most likely, if you're the opponent. And the fact that he has the success rate, win rate, cube rate, play rate that he still does, even with that amount of knowledge, which the devs acknowledged in the explanation as to why they gave him the more power initially, and now they're rescinding it a bit because they thought it, the information would be too much and make more people. No, it's the juke. It's 100% the I have a Red Hulk, and then you lose to like somebody dropping a Maximus with Shang-Chi instead and Tada. That juke screwed them up more than anything else. Red Hulk, good adjustment, good start. I'm not 100% completely happy with it, but I'm happy enough to say at least they're acknowledging when they overshot it, because they've done that in 2 directions now. With Red Hulk, they overshot it by giving too much power. And then US Agent, where granted, US Agent had a whole bunch of other issues about just even accessibility. He also just was very mediocre. And now they've adjusted him by having his ongoing now be a -4 power instead of a -3 power for 4, 5, and 6 cost cards. And I don't understand why people aren't more excited about this. This is a 2/7. That's broken.
You want to know why people are not more excited about it? Because they don't own it.
Yeah.
Like me.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Because they don't have it.
I'm outraged.
But even those who did, like I used collector's tokens on day 1 to get it. So I wasn't personally affected by what happened with all the spotlight caches and keys and stuff like that, right? That was, I don't know if I'd say fortunate in that aspect, but I was not affected. So I had a lot of time the first 3 days to really play a lot of US Agent. I was trying him in Cerebro 3, etc. And I just never felt good playing the card. Now with the incentive of 1 extra stat for that cost over a Maximus, and then you can still, play it into a whole bunch of other afflictions and stuff like that. This is something worth considering. And I think that in Evo decks, you're going to start seeing more and more US Agents come on down, because it's also, when dropped early, a lane control card where you say, hey, listen, you really don't want to put something big here because it's going to take a ridiculous amount of power on your big guys to do it. You better have decent little guys that can take down this card instead. It's kind of like the goose mentality, but with an option.
Yeah, it kind of forces your opponent to play, like you said, those smaller units into that field, or else it's kind of like a pseudo negative zone, where it's giving -3 to those bigger units, and -3 does like -4 now. That does add up, and like the one, even though it's just 1 extra power off with this new change, 1 power does make a big deal, especially when it can be multiple, when it affects multiple units. Like there's actually, it's hard to see it sometimes, but there are actually quite a few games that do come down to 1 power. 1 power does make the difference between you winning the location or even just tying the location to then go down to tiebreakers. So I would say that this change does make the card very strong. Yeah, if you just hit one thing, you are playing a 2/7, like Guest said, and that is quite powerful, I would say. Yeah, I think
think of this.
I'm even more mad that I don't own the card now. Yeah.
Well, think of this. To me, this card will justify its entire use case in one play, one time in my Snap career. And that is it, which is I'm going up against Tribunal. And someone stacks up Iron Man, Onslaught, and Tribunal all in the same lane. And then US Agent comes on down, turns that into like nothing all by himself. Hitting Mr. Negative with more negative. Hitting Iron Man with more negative, excuse me, is ridiculous. It goes from having 16 power that gets, quadrupled to now only having 4 power that gets quadrupled.
Yeah.
That's now just a 16 rather than a 64. That's a lot. And that should not be underestimated. If you were a Tribunal player, it might be time for a new deck just because this card now exists, because you could survive the -3s. I don't think that deck survives -4s at all.
But, yeah, that's a big deal, actually. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
One time.
Just counters the
I want it once. Just give me one time. That's all. Like one opponent, I'll run it until I get it one time, get the opponent, hold it. It'll be like Braveheart, just like hold, wait, and then drop it on down on the final turn and just smile. I don't even care if I lose. I just want to do it once just to say that I did it. I don't think that's
I think that US Agent change is a pretty big change, but I think there's a way bigger change actually.
Really?
And that is Mantis going to a 1/2. No, I'm not even memeing. You can laugh all you want, guess. You're about to experience a lot of Mantis.
Okay, Mr. Bounce player, talk to me.
It's not even. I mean, Bounce does maybe like this card now, but I mean, it's kind of scary for like Loki decks. Somebody tweeted about that before. This is a solid card now at 1 cost. Being able to copy, there's actually so many possibilities with this card. Being able to copy what your opponent played this turn for 1 energy. And then the ability to now bounce it with the Falcon as well. I think it's mainly going to be in like a Loki deck, but I don't know. I think this card seems really, really good now at the 1/2. Back to what it was originally, but now it actually has an ability that actually like helps you. Like probably will help you. I can see Mockingbird definitely getting a nice little buff with this as well. And yeah, I think this is a very strong addition to Loki, I would have to say. And I could see it in some other decks. I could see it. Like I will try it out in like a bounce deck. I mean, maybe even a zoo deck. I don't know, as we see in chat right there. But I think this change to Mantis is actually a big deal. Going from a 2 to a 1 makes this card a lot more playable. And we haven't really seen this card see play with this new effect that it's gotten since the last patch. So right. I think we'll be seeing. I mean, I could be totally wrong. It could just still be awful. But I think the amount of potential that it has, being able to like the amount of different things that it could copy. It could copy anything. It could copy cards that got buffed by something as well. Like there's a lot of potential for this card. Right. That's all I'm saying.
So I have one specific scenario that I think actually incredibly enjoys this synergy, because you also got to remember, not only are you getting a copy of the card, if you want it to be, worth your while and you want to play that card, you need another turn, right? So then you have to play it down afterwards. And turn 5 is such an incredibly important turn. I don't necessarily see Mantis being key to play on turn 5 more often than not, because if you are trying to play that card, a lot of the times you're trying to play your opponent's cards because you have a Mockingbird, because you're trying to get down that extra reduction. So now you're looking at earlier and earlier and earlier of when you want to play Mantis. And I think right now, because they're talking about it here in your chat, and it's kind of in the right direction of where I would want to go with it from a zoo tech standpoint, which is Storm. I think that with Storm now, playing out that Ultron Storm zoo line, because you've got the ability to reach into there later with the Nightcrawler, with the droids from Ultron. Like there are other ways to reach into those locations. I think that this actually does serve a real purpose there, because on turn 4, you've put down your storm on 3, people are going to fight for that lane more often than not. And the security of that, I think, is incredibly important, because then even afterwards on turn 5, if you need to play it, you've now honed it down to a 50-50 shot to steal their blank, whatever they put down, especially if they have priority and it's an on-reveal like Black Panther. It's the leader effect, where if they play a Black Panther down first and then you Mantis after on that same turn, you get a 5-8 Panther in your hand that then you can play to bring to 5-16, for example, versus theirs, which is obviously half that. So there's certain pieces and synergies that with, I think, Lockdown might have some unique benefit, and with Zoo may have some unique benefit, but I'm not jumping up and down over this change as much as I was jumping up and down about Jean Grey, because I was literally playing a Jean Grey deck when Jean Grey was told to the creator community, hey, Jean Grey is getting a buff. And I'm like, this is freaking awesome, because she's already a good card that people aren't experimenting enough with. And now at 3-4, I think that extra power, like you said, 1 power can win a lane. And in a card that specifically forces you to target your own lane, that's kind of a big deal.
I mean, Jean Grey, this is exact synergy with Mantis now. You know your opponent's going to play there. There you go.
Very true.
Yeah, I think Jean Grey is one of those cards that has a very unique effect. And as I said in the OTA notes, they said it is a very powerful effect. It does just force your opponent to target that location and most likely fill up the location at some point as well. And Jean Grey is one of those cards that you're saying not a lot of people experiment with enough. And I feel like it's because it's just like a difficult card to play with. Like I've tried playing with Jean Grey myself, and there's so many situations where I just don't know where or when to drop it. And then there's a lot of times where I drop it and then it ends up screwing me over. And it's like, I think it's a very difficult card to master. And I feel like that kind of deters people from actually experimenting with it enough, including myself. But I feel like it can be very powerful in the right hands.
Yeah, my favorite deck ever yet with Jean Grey to this day was an Agatha move deck, because of how Agatha ran. Because the second Jean Grey gets dropped, obviously now you're restricting where the cards go. And the way that Agatha is programmed, if there is a move available on the board, she will move every single time. So you were like directing traffic every time with Agatha, as it drops a Nightcrawler on 4 and guarantees a movement on 5, or drops Vision on 5 and guarantees a movement before 6 when she plays herself in the lane. Like, as weird as it sounds, it worked fantastically. However, as a pilot trying to run a Jean Grey, you want to be more cheeky than that. So playing in, War Machine now, which brings a whole nother flexibility to Jean Grey decks, is really, really fun. We now have White Widow, who we'll talk about momentarily, who keeping that -4 out on that side of the battlefield is a big deal, and Jean Grey helps to enable that in the post. So I like this change, because it's going to reopen people's minds to a different type of lockdown, because they're so worried about themselves being locked down that they forget how to play around it, because they're just scared that they're going to get, like you said, exactly screwed by their own card.
Yeah, I think Warpath is that no War Machine. Did you say Warpath? I don't know.
War Machine.
Yeah, I don't know. War Machine is definitely. I mean, a lot of people have been playing that I've experienced have been playing Professor X already recently. Yeah. And I think that Jean Grey coming up now, making a Jean Grey deck with War Machine just seems really nice, and especially since the meta seems to be good for it. Kind of got me wanting to experience that, to experiment with that myself in a little bit. I think that's kind of the other changes that we got are very small changes. We won't even go over them too much. I mean, Stature just got reverted back to a 5/7. Jane Foster to a 5/9, got a 1 power increase, which is kind of interesting. It's cool to see it get some love. It has been. I just like that they're buffing cards that are a bit underplayed. I think that's always just the goal. Just nerf the cards that are overplayed, buff the cards that are underplayed. Try to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have the new card that just came out this week, White Widow, who is a 2/2. I don't own the card because I keep low rolling on my keys, so I have no keys.
2/2. You were correct. 2/2.
And it sends over a Widow's Kiss, which is a 0/0 to your opponent's side of the field on that location, and then that Widow's Kiss, or no, that Widow's Kiss has ongoing. No, is it ongoing? Yeah.
This is what happens, folks, when I don't give him the copy beforehand. So 2/2, White Widow, add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side of this location. The Widow's Kiss is a 0/0, but with an ongoing of -4 that can be disabled at just by simply having that other side of the location completely clogged. Fill it up with whether it be, Space Throne and it's all by itself, or 4 cards in total. Then it deactivates it and just becomes essentially a rock. And this card, have you, like you said, you personally don't have it. How much have you played against it in the last 3 days?
I've seen it a decent amount.
Yeah. It broke me today.
Oh.
It broke. I look, every time I get the new card, I test the card, I play the card, I try a variety of different types of decks. I try decks that don't make sense for the style of card, try a whole bunch of cool stuff, have it go all over the place. It's what I do. But by the time I got to stream this morning, I was so tired of Clog. I said, screw this. We opened up with a straight up Deadpool Destroy deck. I was so tired of trying to play the Annihilus game, the Clog game, the Toss game, the Yeet game, the whatever game you want to call it, the I will out yeet you game. And right now, it's everybody's all in. It's not just like the Annihilus package. It's everybody's throwing, here's a goblin, I'm gonna Viper over a Nico for 2 power just so I can clog your side of the board. Like, it is over clogging, unfortunately, and it's incredibly frustrating to deal with. So that's why I just started playing Destroy today and Cerebro 7 because of the change to stature, because that was worthwhile.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Yeah, White Widow seems fine. I think jump decks were already in like an okay spot.
Yeah.
Like clog decks. I think the biggest winner from White Widow, or winners, I guess, are like Professor X plus Cannonball.
Yep.
I think Cannonball has been seeing a lot more play, and Cannonball does synergize very with the White Widow because it pushes the card out of that location where the Widow's Kiss is. So then the Widow's Kiss is then a -4 power, and you get to usually destroy something as well. And it's just a very big power swing there. So yeah, I think Cannonball is probably like one of the best synergies with it. And the card is just like a pretty good addition to the deck. I don't think it's like a game-breaking card. Like I found myself in a lot of positions where it just became a zero power thing on my side of the field because I was able to fill it up pretty easily. But sometimes it does more than usual. Like it's just like seems a good card.
One of the things that I think that's most frustrating for me, which is something that the community is not fully navigating right now with the piloting of White Widow Clog decks, is the understanding of when lanes get filled and then you try to Annihilus, and if you've got that, bite on your side and the lane is clogged, yes, you're going to send over everything else. But if there's already something else being sent over, it will just convert back to a 0 -4. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to overclog. I think that White Widow organically works very well with the package, but the overclog, I think over time is going to end up backfiring, because we're going to end up in this meta again where people will realize, hey, I need to play against this regularly. What are we going to go to? I know. How does Shuri Red Hulk sound? Let's go to that with, Hope Summers and friends. Like that kind of stuff. The single big cards will come back, and we're going to end up in this whole cycle, and then the Shang-Chi conversation comes again. It's just the cycle of the game. So right now, where there's board space is the biggest argument in Marvel Snap. Exactly to your point again about Professor X and Cannonball. We're also looking to see, with cards like White Widow, how can we abuse them in different ways? It's going to lead to that type of meta again, and I'm worried it's going to start to feel incredibly stale. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve by saying this is a good card. But really learn it. Don't just like overclog everything, because if you only do that, I feel like we're going to end up in a very negative space. But if this card ends up in good synergies, for example, like those who are great pilots at Cerebro 2. If you were really good at Cerebro 2, you just got better with this card. If you're not good at Cerebro 2, you're going to suck playing this card into that deck no matter what. But throwing just a bunch of clog crap all over the place, I don't think that's, that's not Marvel Snap. That's how did my draws compare to yours on the first 4 turns versus actually playing a game. And it's like Mill in that aspect, in my opinion. I put Clog and Mill kind of in the same package idea, where if you build a whole deck around it, it's incredibly frustrating to go up against in high regularity versus having pieces of it be a part of a package that you work with mixed in with other packages and cards. Like Annie Bounce, which I made a video on. Like Annie Bounce is a good deck now, again, in my opinion, because of cards like this. But full on Clog, that's just bad.
Well, it sounds like I don't know. It sounds like Guest doesn't want you to play it because he just hates playing. It sounds like you think that it's like toxic to play against, right? Is that what it is? Like the mill deck, the full on mill decks, and the other thing, like you think it's like solitaire or something. Like you think like one person's getting to play and like they're just locking you out.
It's
from
more
playing
in the sense.
or?
I don't think it's necessarily like solitaire or that it's necessarily toxic. I think that it's just unfun. It doesn't, like, there are toxic decks that are fun, like Galactus, in my opinion. That's a toxic deck that's fun, in my opinion, because there's a little bit of strategy involved. You know the play line's more than likely that it's going to happen. So if you get it to happen, you've got this big epic animation. There's a payoff in that aspect, and it's very forecastable, in my opinion. Galactus, people know Galactus now versus in the beginning, obviously. Versus a mill deck, like a true mill deck, you've got no cards by the end of turn 4. Just like how people were frustrated that Eliath didn't let you play your cards at all. That's what mill decks do. And it's just not a fun interaction to regularly go up against. It's temporary because, look, Baron Zemo's the season pass card. And the second that moves on and we move into Blink, then we move to someone else. Then it's going to be another new archetype. And just like when we had Corvus and Proxima, discard was the archetype of the moment. And, get the combos going. It's just of the moment. It doesn't make it any less frustrating because it can be very frustrating to go up against repeatedly. I know you know that feeling, but every now and then, you're allowed to see a certain deck and be like, okay, it's a mill deck. It's like when you used to play against Ronin. Every now and then you played against a Ronin deck and you're like, wow, I haven't seen one of these. That's really annoying. I've got all these Sentinels in my hand. Crap, It happens every now and then, and it's not the worst thing in the world. Tribunal was the same way. And then all of a sudden, the rise of Tribunal and everybody was pissed off because it's a rough deck to go up against regularly. It just wasn't fun. Same thing, in my opinion, with Mill. Just not fun.
Well, I love playing the mill deck, so...
This is why we don't do private games.
Yeah, I think those decks are definitely not fun. It's definitely more fun to be on the other side of it, like to be the one playing the deck, playing against it. You do feel very limited, and yeah, as we've talked about on like every single episode of the podcast, like that's not where the game wants to go. The game doesn't want to go in a direction where it doesn't feel like you get to play the cards in your deck. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. The clog decks are kind of everywhere, and I feel like I do go up against an Annihilus like every other game. And it is kind of annoying. Like it's the same thing over and over, like Sentry into Annihilus into whatever. And now you got just another addition. Just like there's been a lot of cards that actually work with the deck. It feels like being added to the game. Oh yeah, we'll see where that goes for sure. But we also have a new on the positive side of things. All right, we have login rewards right now. So if you log into the game every single day or whenever you can, I mean, if you log in every day for 7 days, you can get a premium mystery variant for free. And of course, you also get other stuff every single day that you log in. You get 400 credits for day one, 65 random boosters for day two, 200 gold for day three, a random mystery variant for day four, 300 gold for day five, 155 random boosters for day six, and then day seven you get that premium one. Only if you had gotten the previous, I believe. I think you do have to log in every single day to get to that next stage in the rewards. But this is the first time I think that we've seen two mystery variants in a login rewards kind of thing, and one of them is premium as well. Like this, you were saying before the podcast, like this is the best one that we've seen, right?
By a mile. These are the best login rewards we have seen yet. And I have a quote here from the product manager, Chris, product manager of Second Dinner, outright when we were giving praise to like, these are great login rewards. And I quote, "I appreciate it. We truly were bummed out about the issues from a couple weeks ago, so we wanted to make the login bonus worthwhile." So all the feedback of like, hey, we had this issue where we were logged in, but we didn't continually log in, or we didn't re-log in the right way, but I was playing every single day, or like that whole issue where then they had to recompensate like a month later before the next login rewards were active and started. Like I was affected by that one, for example. That caused them to say, look, we need to make these login rewards like good, like legitimately good. And if you think about it, a mystery variant being worth 700 gold and a premium mystery variant being worth 1,200 gold. That means that this login reward is 2,400 gold worth, plus 400 credits, plus 220 boosters, just for opening the damn game. Not even playing it. Just open it, collect it. I'll see you tomorrow. Like, not even doing anything. This is a big deal. This is a lot of rewards. And this is Second Dinner acknowledging, hey, we screwed up. I'm sorry. Here, let me make it up to you. You know, let me not just give you rewards. Let me give you some good rewards. And that's exactly what these are. These are really good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Especially as somebody, even as somebody that hasn't gotten all the login rewards for the other ones. I've never actually fully gotten all the login rewards, even though I play this game like every single day. It just so happens like sometimes, like whenever they come out with login rewards, I'm like
25-hour
like doing
gap,
something.
you know? Yeah.
And then I just miss like day one, and then I don't get the rest of it. Like I don't get the final one. But this one for sure. Looking at these rewards, I need to log in every single day. I will force myself. I'll set an alarm if I have to. Every day, I need this because this is a big value for sure. Yeah, like you said, this is just a ton. This is the best that we've seen. It might be the best that we ever see because now they're making up for whatever just happened. So I would definitely get all this stuff. And by the time you hear this podcast, it might already be done with the first one. I don't even know, but hopefully maybe we saved you. Let us know in the comments. But go log in after you finish this episode, and then or pause the episode, go log in, and then come back and finish it. But yeah,
we'll pause right here after these commercial messages while you go open the game. Cheers. No.
Yeah, this is really nice to see for sure.
Yeah.
100%. And it's totally free.
Exactly. With that said, with all of these, rewards and stuff, before we move to data mine stuff, if you log in every single day between, today and next week, by the time you get to day 5, you will have potentially almost enough gold to get variants of our new card coming next week, Valentina. So yes, I know we're still in the middle of White Widowness, but I do want to talk about Valentina a little bit because she's a 2/3 that's going to be dropping. We're add a random 6 cost to your hand. A random 6 cost to your hand, but you're going to take 2 cost off of it and take 3 power off of it. This is I keep sitting down on this card and I keep trying to tell myself, no hopium, no hopium, no hopium. Because on the one end, it was like, wait a minute, this is really, really good. Oh my God, I could get a Dr. Doom for 4 cost and have these Doom bots. What? Like, I was really getting worried about like the feeling I was having with this card, because I'm like, oh, my brain wants to theory craft everything. And then I sat down and said, okay, first up, Loki deck. Duh. It's a card into the hand. It's a 2/3. I don't know if it's better than Cable necessarily, but it gives me a very high ceiling to work with. So I'm like, okay, I'll put it into a Loki deck, because then I can play it out early if I still need to, which helps out my Mockingbird, or leave it in my hand for Dino. It's a perfect fit. All right, what else? And I froze. Because I was like, okay, think. And I got stuck. And I realized after like a lot of looking, I found 3 synergies that make me feel good about the card, but then brought me off the hopium train. Collector and discard, you know, that kind of synergy together would be pretty good. I felt okay, like, okay, but it's not 911. I'd rather have, for 3 cost, I'd rather have, you know, Agent Coulson. Moon Girl, if you have 2 reduced cards, 2 6-cost cards that cost 4, that could be some nice hopium, maybe, if it's all the Dooms and stuff. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, sort of. And then the last one I thought of was Supergiant, where I'm like, okay, you have a 6-cost card that you can play on turn 5, which is kind of leaning into what Supergiant likes to do anyway. Whether you land on a Hope Summers or not, this kind of makes it more reliable. But the unreliability is the 6-cost cards. There are 27 6-cost cards right now in the game. And not a lot of them are really good to get at all, yet alone at reduced power. So I don't know how good this card is going to be, because I kept looking for, like, you know, it's a free it's like the raft, you know, when sometimes you get great stuff from the raft and sometimes you get crap from the raft. Is that worth the chance regularly for her to be decent?
Yeah, it's tough. I think the card, I mean, as a 2/3 or 2, like it's really not too much of a downside to play it, but are you really going to get any upside? It's so tough to say, because there are so many bad 6 costs, like you're saying. From when you play into the raft, you get an Infinite. You can't play it. Like it depends on when you play it. Like you want to play just in case you get the Infinite proc. But then do you even want to skip the turn to play this the following turn? But then if you have Quinjet, I think you need Quinjet down to make this actually good. And then what other decks besides Loki really run Quinjet? Yeah, really not a lot. It would have to be some kind of Moon Girl thing, like you're saying, or maybe Loki.
Like She-Hulk, Moon Girl, hybrid, discount,
like
thing.
I don't know if this really fits into many archetypes per se, but maybe you can make a deck of like good cards ish, and this would go into it. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there's definitely some very good high rolls that you could get, but
yeah. Like She-Hulk, I think is the best
pretty. Yeah, giving it -2 costs would be pretty nice, and then it's not even shangable as well.
It's 4/7.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think the card's very interesting, and it's gonna be. I don't even know if it's gonna be good, man. I don't know. Now you got me questioning everything. I think but yeah, like you're saying, it just doesn't really slot into so many decks at first glance.
Yeah, at first glance, you go, wait, a 6-cost card for reduced? Okay, yeah, sure, just a little power off, sure, whatever. And then you sit down and you look at the list and go, wait a minute, you mean I could get a 4/11 Agatha?
that is one of the low rolls for sure.
That's the lowest of rolls, in my opinion. That's like retreat.
Could be.
You know, you could even attempt to make Destroyer work, just clear the board and play for 2 turns, you know? Like, you could try to make a 6, sorry, now it would be a 4/13 Destroyer work. You could try, you know? And then there's, like, you know, Hulk, okay, that feels really good. Magneto, that feels really good. She-Hulk, that feels really good. Red Hulk, even. Heimdall, great juke play. Always fun to watch a Heimdall play on turn 6 that when it doesn't belong there. Eliath is going to be stupid as a pull. Odin feels
You know,
great.
I think
It's
I
such
think
a weird mix.
I feel like this card kind of has a little. It kind of reminds me of Pixie a little bit, where it's like your opponent played this card, and now you're like so confused at what it could be that they have.
Yeah.
And that might like just cause your opponent to retreat just because of the unknown. I think that actually makes this card a bit more powerful. The mystery behind what that 6 cost is.
Should we be building a Pixie Loki deck just to play this and just really screw people up like consistently? Because that'd be fun.
Put Kang in there. Yeah.
Oh, can we not? No Kang won't be complete. When are they going to actually touch Kang? To be honest, here, like, we're past the point of them saying, okay, we were waiting for that. What are you waiting for, Second Dinner? There is literally no reason not to work on Kang at this point. For real. Come on, please. Can we have, like,
I mean, maybe they're testing it, but it's just too good. It's just too good at a 4 cost or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe I'll ask it in the questions area of Discord and see if we can get a global answer about Kang, because it's been a hot minute and a half. He's really bad. So
yeah, I mean, he is a big bad, but like he is big.
That's not
bad.
a term
like,
anymore. That's outdated, good sir. That's been retired by Second Dinner. Stop calling him the big bad. He's just a serious thought.
Well, he is bad. So okay, he's just bad now.
There you go. That's much better.
No more big.
He is just a bad man. Not a big bad man. He's a bad man.
But yeah, we have one more topic for you guys. This one I just heard about recently from guests here. This was a data mine topic here about clans or like guilds, alliances. I don't even know. I don't think we have an actual name for it yet, per se. But there's been a data mine about clans.
Yeah.
Would you like to lead that topic?
Yeah. Yes. So thanks to the data miners over at snap.fan. Kudos to you guys to finding out some cool stuff. They had it up first, so I'm going to credit them. They are basically saying, look, there's a little bit of information about the clans system. First off, clans are currently limited to 25 members and 25 applicants at a time. I want to talk on that conversation piece first, because we kind of talked about it in the past of like, what's the sweet spot of where alliances should end up. And 2 factors in that sentence. Number 1, the fact that the data mines are referring to it as clans, I think is a big deal, because that's unofficially saying the term, even though there's interviews with Glenn within the past month that uses the term alliances. So I don't know which is technically true. Is the data mine right, or is the nomenclature you hear from the devs true? Because you've heard them say alliance. 2 different devs in the last month have said the term alliances publicly as a reference to the grouping system. So I don't know what it is, but 25 members. I was hoping for around 30, so I'm not terribly upset by this. But for some reason, all of a sudden now, like hearing it officially, it feels like it's a small amount.
I mean, you don't want it to be too big either, because then anybody, like you can just add like a ton of people and they just get free rewards for being in the clan or whatever.
Exactly. Definitely.
I think 25 is totally okay. I don't know. I guess once I think it will go pretty quickly. Like once you start filling up your clan, then you'll be like, oh shoot, I'm almost out of slots already.
It'll
so I'm sure
quick.
Once we actually like get into it, it will start feeling a bit less. But yeah, I could see it going to 30. I don't know. Yeah,
25. It seems like it's a tiny group, but we're all. I think that's also just like a first person issue where it's like, on the one end, you know, someone who's come from my most recent game that had groups at about like I want to say it was 30. And then the one before that was 50. 50 was, and I was the clan leader of that game. That shit was annoying as hell to keep up with regularly. Like being on top of 50 people to get their stuff done every week. Like that was obnoxious. I hated that after like 6 months. I was like, I'm really tired of this. I did it, and I, did it effectively, but it gets exhausting after a while when it's a large group. When it's a smaller, more intimate group, that's the perk of it, is you really know your smaller, more intimate group at the same time. But as a creator, then you also want a slightly larger group because you want to invite your community. So it's like I said, it's a selfish thing, because at the same time, like, I want to be on like my Power on Gaming guys and be with them. But then at the same time, I go to the other end of it. It's like, well, what about the guest list? It's like, it's a personal issue. But for the rest,
I thought you wanted to be on my clan.
Fuck you.
No,
but the rest of us, like the rest of the area, you're kind of like, well, what do you do? I don't know. I kind of get stuck on it. But I think,
yeah, I mean, I guess
go ahead.
It could depend on like the challenges that you get, the rewards and everything. You don't know. Maybe as we find out more, then the number of people will make sense. I'm not sure.
Also, with that said, some of the rewards are let out there, saying there will be clan-wide bounties and rewards, as well as personal bounties and rewards. And this is pretty standard amongst different groups, where it's like, hey, listen, you as a group, you've got to get, 100 deaths with, kill 100 cards with venom. Sure, each person does it, but then as a group, you've got to do like 1,000 or whatever it is. I don't know, something along those lines. And that makes sense. So sometimes some people hit the bare minimum. Sometimes people go way over the top and they do almost everything for the entire group. That's pretty normal. There will be card specific missions. So to me, this is probably the most understated sentence, where the fact that there will be card specific missions, what we don't know is, will they be card specific per clan, or will they be global? Because if they're global, that's going to affect the entire game and the entire meta every single week.
It's going to be another hot location.
Right.
Pretty much for cards. Yeah.
At least for the first couple of days of every week. It'll be like the first 2 days and the last day will be the worst days, knowing, hey, pay attention. It's Mantis week this week. Be ready. You're going to go up against Mantises, or Mantises. I don't know. But like, you're going to see it, is my point. That would be something I would say is worth like keeping an eye on. Outside of, what else? Oh yeah, you can apply tags to make your clan more easily findable. So who knows? Maybe we'll go with the GST for us, just because jokes inside. Then you can put a floor on highest rank achieved to have infinite only clans, and also the same for collection level. This one did worry me a little bit. I get it, it's needed, but something just to keep an eye on to see how people decide to do this, because whale-only clans feels weird when it should be about activity rather than dollars, because that's what collection level more often than not equates to, is just dollars more than anything else. But infinite only clans definitely makes a lot more sense.
I mean, I'm assuming that for the collection level, like you can't set it to like 20,000. You need 20,000 collection level. I'm assuming it's like mainly for like series 1. We don't know. Like after you get through like series 3 collection level, like maybe. That would be. I mean, people can filter it however they want. I mean, if you actually filter it like 30,000 collection level, then you're ridiculous. But I
mean, I'm almost at 20. That's fine. I'll join that clan. I can do that. I'm like I'm like 19.9. I'm like right there. Almost.
I mean, I could totally see setting a collection level like maybe a bit above like series 3, just to make sure like the people in your clan have like a lot of the cards per se, like all the series 3 cards and some series 4, some series 5. Like I like the customization aspect with the floors, I guess, and like the infinite only thing makes sense for sure. And I'm sure there's going to be something for everybody, whether you make it yourself or you want to join something. Like there's not every clan is going to be this infinite only hyper competitive kind of clan. Like there's going to be beginner clans and medium kind of clans and all that. So I wouldn't be concerned about having a specific collection level or even rank at all. But I do like that it gives you a little flexibility with how you can set it up. But yeah,
for those who also have not, for a lot of people who play Marvel Snap, this might be their introduction to this style of content. And, group dynamic content in particular for these types of games has a very big upside from a community standpoint. One of the things that I did love about, my past games was not only creating just the singular, was creating the alliances of clubs or clans or groups, right? So just like you're saying, where there's tiers and entries, for the guest list, it would not surprise me if someone from my community said, hey, listen, I want to work for the guest list in the sense of like be a clan leader, supporters of ItsGuestGaming or whatever, sure. But then also that fills up. Okay, so we need a second one. Okay, then you get a third one. And now you've got this umbrella of, guest list clans that all form one giant alliance. And then you're all in the same Discord. And then some people say, hey, listen, this is just too active. I need something more casual. Well, we have a more casual clan down over here. Like this type of dynamic on one aspect of community is incredibly fun and healthy because you get a larger community of sub communities together. At the same time, it's up to the public to decide if they're going to treat that in a healthy manner or if they're going to treat that as cliquey, like screw that clan, that alliance, that group. And I really hope that doesn't happen with this game. It's potentially inevitable, but I really hope it doesn't happen with this game because it's an incredibly good thing community-wise. And I want us to lean as a Snap community more into that aspect of bringing people together rather than excluding people out.
Nah, I'm gonna screw over your clan. I'm gonna make an alt account and make a clan on there and have like the worst of the worst people in it. And we're gonna name it guest list number 1, and it's gonna be like horrible. If we're gonna have the worst rating, you're gonna have to scroll all the way down. We're gonna give you the worst.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really do like the community, the sense of community in games as well. And I've actually had some really positive experiences with social aspects in gaming. Like, not to like try to name another game, but Hearthstone, for instance, even like the nearby player feature on Battle.net. Like, I actually have met good friends. Like when I was in college, I actually met friends with that feature that became like lifelong friends. And just like, I mean, you never know. Like, I'm sure a ton of people have played World of Warcraft and have been in a guild in a game like that, where there's this big social aspect, and you can meet like a lot of awesome people through gaming. And just a way to like be able to communicate with people and create some kind of bond and go further than like being in a Discord or like being in Twitch chat or something like that, and like being able to show off like how you do in the game. Like, because right now, like, you can't really see, like, besides just the leaderboard, you can't see how anybody does. Like, you could post your monthly report and be like, oh, I have a 70% win rate on Bar Sinister or something, whatever. Yeah. So this is like a way to like contribute to like your community that you really love and to just make new friends. I think it's definitely a positive. And it also, like we were saying before, like, it comes with rewards as well. Like, we're going to get rewards just for participating in these clans, by just playing the game that we always play anyway, and by having some kind of camaraderie as well.
I think it's like you said with the hot location aspect too. I think that's something worth leaning in on. The idea that they're with these card specific missions for people to achieve them and to complete them, and how it's going to change the landscape of Marvel Snap. One of the things that I think is also worth noting is people who do play this game sometimes like to only play one deck. And there is a negative connotation that can be associated to that because, like, you've seen them before. You've seen the screenshots out in the open, whether it's, Reddit or Twitter or your own Discords or whatever it may be, of people who have an all inked destroy deck because they are a destroy primary player or a discard primary player, or this is their favorite Darkhawk build or whatever. And they've put so much into that specific deck in particular and those splits and variants that's what they just like, look, this is their casual game. This is what they like to play. This is the archetype they know and they love. But now for me to get those new rewards, I have to play a card that I'm not comfortable with just to hit a certain number of achievements, because I think it's different than weekend missions, where weekend missions were clearly created to help boost weekend activity via the new card mechanics and incentivize another reason why to get the new card, because you get more rewards every single week, even though the rewards are nominal comparatively to what you obviously expend on them. But it's there nevertheless. But if it's completely random all the time amongst all clans, I think that's incredibly healthy. If it's very, like, if it's uniformed, where everybody has the same missions worldwide every single week, it's going to heavily affect statistic. It's going to help heavily affect the meta game. It's going to change a lot with Marvel Snap, and I don't want that to be slept on, because that will change how you play the game every single day, because clans are saying, hey, for a couple of days, people have to play this card, just be ready for it. Just be ready. Don't sleep on it. Just be ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter if you're in a clan or not. Like, your meta will be affected by it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would definitely want it to be so every clan has like a different card that's highlighted or something like that. I don't know exactly how it's gonna work, because otherwise, like, I would want like a whole different mode for clans to queue, like clan battle kind of thing to queue into. Because I'm not trying to. I don't want a hot location and a hot card like to be like happening every single week. It's just there's already a lot of people that dislike hot locations, like myself. So yeah, I don't think it'll get a positive response from a lot of people. But sometimes they gotta just try things and see what sticks, see what people like. So I'll have to see what it is. But I mean, just the fact that we're getting some more information, even if it's not directly from Marvel Snap themselves, still very cool.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's also one more thing on that list.
Yeah, no, it's just it's a safety feature built inside, where if like the clan leader is just straight up inactive, any member can claim it after a week, from a stagnant leader. It's just because it's definitely happened before. I've had it in past games too, where your clan leader just like puts down the game forever and no one can do anything about it, because the only person who can relieve the clan from the clan leader is the clan leader. And if they're stuck there, then there's nothing that anybody can do. So I
apparently
like that
a week is forever.
Say again?
I said apparently 7 days is forever.
Yes, forever, straight up. Like you go, but you can also pass off the ownership. Like, hey, I'm going on vacation. Someone take over the ownership spot. Thanks. Okay. I'm not logging in for a week. Got it. Like that's a good little feature to have, just in case, to help keep activity regularly going in case if someone decides to put down the game. Totally cool with it. It's just an extra feature. It's not a 911 feature, but one that they were able to data mine. And the fact that they're data mining it is a big deal, because it means it's already getting pieces of it into the game system. So I think it's inevitable that we end up getting it sooner rather than later. I think personally, if I had to guess, within the next, by the end of May would be my guess, because I think they'd want this out before summer hits in the States. That's my personal assessment.
Yeah, I mean, whenever it drops, I definitely not going to try to get too hyped about it, because we never know the timelines with these things. But that would be awesome to just have a social feature in the game. Like, we don't have a friends list or anything, so
yeah,
it would be nice. I don't think this would not require them to add a friends list. I doubt this would come with a friends list as well, like a friends list kind of feature. But at least we're getting something in that kind of direction. So, and just more rewards is great. We love,
as long as we
rewards,
don't have global chat. Oh man, that's one of the worst things about
I don't
games.
think they'll do it.
They better not implement a global chat. We already have Discord and Reddit. We don't need global chat too. That's just the worst. Clan chat, sure, but like, please don't give us a global chat. We don't want this. We've learned. Don't do it, please. It's just the worst. But I digress. Lastly, I do want to promote just one selfish notion, because it's happening on my own channel this weekend. I'll be casting on the second day, casting the semifinals, the top 16, 8, 4, 2 finals, all the fun stuff for the Snap Grand Prix I do want to advertise that to come hang out with me because I never stream on the weekends unless if it's for a special event. So we're having a special event and I'm hosting it, and it's going to be on. It's $1,000 tournament. Happens mostly on Saturday. Major rounds happen first. We go to a top cut, and the top cut's being hosted on our channel. And we're going to have a bunch of content creators from Pursuit Gaming coming on and casting with me. It's going to be a very big tournament, and it's going to be a fun cast because, I mean, I've been doing a lot of castings, a lot, especially the last couple of weeks. And I think it's one of the reasons I ended up with the purple check mark, because I think entertaining competitive Marvel Snap has a home. And even though Second Dinner might not give us a spectator mode, we're going to have a damn good time spectating it. And we're going to have a really good core amount of gameplay to showcase. So this is a collaboration between Pursuit Gaming and the Snap Judgments League. They've come together to put together the Snap Grand Prix, sponsored by Primed Mind. And now we've got $1,000 prize pool. So if you are here and you want something to do this weekend, you want a chance at that $1,000 prize pool, go ahead and join. I'll have information down below, or shoot me a DM in the Discord or in their Discord. Very big event. Let's get you some prize winnings. Let's have some competitive Marvel Snap. And I'll also make sure that the gameplay from the top cuts are put up on YouTube afterwards as well. So just a little selfish thing. I don't know what you're doing this weekend, because I know you like a good tournament, but just, you can come too. You know, we'll let you in. We'll let you in.
I mean, I thought I read no professionals allowed, but I don't know. Maybe
no unprofessionals around. Only mature gamers allowed. That's all.
Oh, I can't join that.
Yeah, you're not allowed then. So with that said, I think that wraps up everything going on right now in our two worlds of Marvel Snap. Is there anything else you want to showcase, advertise, broadcast before we wrap up this episode today, good sir?
I'm all good. I'm going to just end it with a Miss Marvel emote right here.
I appreciate it. That's a thumbs up for our audio listeners. Thank you so much, everyone, for enjoying the Beyond Infinite podcast. That's D-Money. I'm ItsGuestGaming. We will see you all, hopefully, next week.
Peace.